Hi, Crime Junkie jury. I'm Lauren Conlin, and this is your daily Diddy Digest. We are on day 21 of the United States versus Sean Combs. And right away, I just want to point out that the government said that they will likely conclude their case in chief by the end of next week, which would be June 20th. They said there is a chance that they may finish by Wednesday, which would be June 18th. So we'll see. They might scrap some witnesses. And the defense said that their case in chief, they're not sure how long that will go. That will depend on who the defense decides to scrap as a witness, if any. Okay, Jane is still on the stand doing her cross-examination, and it was not as intense as yesterday. It actually was a really short day in court. We started at 1 and we actually finished around 4:30. So this update will be pretty brief, but right off the bat, we saw a text and an incident where Jane saw that Diddy was with Young Miami off on a vacation, and this was February. And it turns out that both Jane and Young Miami have birthdays in February. And right away, I'm not sure if I brought this up, not right away, but just as some context, Diddy had told Jane that he was polyamorous, that he wasn't exactly monogamous, and Jane wasn't happy about this, but she kind of dealt with it because she loved him. And we've heard this a lot. So she kind of knew he was dating Young Miami, not thrilled about it, but it turns out Jane was planning this very special Valentine's hotel night for Diddy, and he kind of knew about it. So we see text messages where Jane says to him, "Get your home from this island or this excursion with Young Miami, or else Valentine's Day is off." So Jane said, "Yes, I did kind of threaten a hotel night, but that was the only time." What we saw a lot of today were very sentimental text messages from Jane to Diddy saying how much she loved him. I mean, one text in particular was like she got on her knees and prayed to God and said how much she loved him and how thankful she was. And all of these texts were specifically after trips or times with Diddy where a hotel night with an entertainer was involved. And one text in particular that she had to read, she was saying how much she loved him because he made her child so happy about something. And she broke down. She was very upset on the stand. She was crying. I don't want to say she was sobbing, but she was close and she almost had to take a break, but she managed to pull it together to continue. We saw a lot of text messages, again, of Jane setting up the hotel nights, texting with the entertainers, appearing to be friendly with them. We saw text messages between Jane and Diddy where she would say, "I don't really feel like doing it tonight." And he would say, "No problem." And Jane explained that she knew deep down he was really upset. She would try to give context around this. And at one point there was, I don't want to say it was a tense exchange because it was nothing like yesterday, but there was an exchange where Tenny Garagos would say, "You had this hotel night and you agreed to it." And Jane would say, "Unfortunately, yes." And she said unfortunately before she would say yes quite frequently. So Tenny Garagos was like, "Okay, you keep saying unfortunately yes, but did you agree to it or not?" And she said, I regret it and I resent him for it. And Tenny said, "You regret it now." That was like a whole thing. She was like, "What you're saying is you regret it now after the fact, but you did say yes to all of this." She also, they showed us, or they didn't show us, we heard the video, the jury saw it, of after a breakup that Diddy and Jane had. They took a video of themselves, and again, we just heard it. We heard a lot of kissy noises. It literally was like, "Mwah, mwah, mwah." It was kind of gross. But I actually saw two of the jurors smile at this, kind of laughing because they're making these kissy noises, and Diddy kind of said, "This woman lifts me up and when I need it, and I'm so glad we're back together," type of thing. And Jane echoed the same thing, that he lifted her up, etc. We also heard about her birthday, Jane's birthday, and how she texted Diddy, this was 2023, to put something in her account so she could take her friends and family to dinner, and she wanted an outfit. And Tenny said, "So did you have a good birthday?" And she's like, "No, I didn't. I was having a really hard time." And Tenny was like, "So you didn't have a good birthday that Mr. Combs paid for, put money in your account so all your friends and family would have fun, yada, yada." And then it segued into this whole thing where he had taken young Miami out to another hotel or something or out to dinner. And Jane felt like he had booked her at the Nobu Hotel in Miami because Nobu, the restaurant, was just downstairs and they wouldn't have to leave the hotel. And she wanted to go out in public with him. So she had this whole thing, like, directly after, or maybe it was before, I'm not certain. But yeah, he wanted to like keep me holed up in the Nobu Hotel in Miami and not take me out. Like I kind of knew what he was doing there, type of thing. And we heard a lot about Gina again, this other woman, where they would fight about Gina, and she said Gina was trash. She was so toxic. And that was, I think, a cause of one of their breakups, where this video came into play. And we heard about basically months where they would go without hotel night. So there was a significant amount of, not amount of months, but there was a couple months and a significant amount of days where she would read off text messages of them, getting together, hanging out, ensuring that the jury knew and we knew that there were no hotel nights involved. There were no escorts involved. This was just strictly them. Let me see. Oh, and they brought up the New York trip that Jane had talked about being upset about because Diddy texted her a picture of an escort on a plane when she kind of said, she didn't want to do it. And she was disappointed because they didn't go out that night that she got there. And the defense wanted to let us know that this week in particular was very busy for Diddy because he had just released an album. And so he had all this press stuff to do with his album. And so he was very tired by the time she got in. And so they went to this lounge, whatever. And I think a couple days later or a day later or so, they had a hotel night. But the defense was trying to provide context around that. Oh, and then there was another tense moment because there was some text exchanges about Jane. I guess she made like a food post or something, and Diddy had her take it down. She tagged him in it, but she saw that Gina made a very public post about this love necklace that Diddy got her. And it turns out that Jane had a love bracelet that kind of matched the necklace. And anyway, she kind of said, like, you made me take this post down and she got to keep this up. You might as well just give her my bracelet to go with her necklace, type of thing. And yeah, it was just, it was a lot of, again, back and forth messages about Jane saying how, how she had a great time after an escort night, and also how they would have movie nights, she and Diddy, and watch these movies that they made, and they would watch them back, and they would talk about it, and they would have a good time and say, talk about doing another one. And she also talked about, or it came up that Jane would be the one to go to the sex store and buy certain things. She talked about buying the Rhino pill for men, which helps them get it up. So things would move along faster. And she had Diddy take this and the entertainer take this. And she also bought them matching shorts, I guess, because she said she was turned off by the way they would kind of come in to the room, and she didn't like what they were wearing. So she bought them matching shorts. And yeah, that was pretty much the gist of today. Again, this is a shorter video because really it was a short day in court. So yes, I'll be back for day 22. Thank you so much for listening to this daily Diddy Digest.